It's time for us to get into the community development segment. And this morning we have
Alex
a very
King.
interesting conversation that we need to have. Yeah.
It's about fires, dousing fires in certain areas, but the sad thing that keeps happening is that when the fire men and women go to douse the fire, they are sometimes attacked by the indigenes of that place. Sometimes in their notion, why would they delay in quickly the hasting to come to douse the fires? So to them, they can take the law into their own hands and attack the firefighters. And this has been going on since last month and some time past. But in the past month, it's been frequent. On the 13th of February, our correspondent Hafiz Tijani did an entire story on this, and we'll take a look at it so you see the extent at which this has been going on for. Then we'll come back into the studio and have a thorough discussion with our guest in the house. Stay tuned.
Reports indicate that such attacks on fire officers during distress calls have become increasingly common, leaving the latest incident in Konongo deeply unsettling for the fire officers involved. Ashanti Regional Public Relations Officer of the Ghana National Fire Service, DO3 Peter Adai, provided details of the incident.
We had a distress call reporting the fire at Pra Junction, which is very close to Nkoko. So we dispatched our tender at Konongo to respond to that incident. So when they were about to contain the incident, we had another call reporting a fire within the Konongo township. So we had to move the men at Pra Junction to respond to that emergency because the tender at Ejeso had also been dispatched to another incident. So upon reaching the one within the Konongo township, they were met with hostilities, and sensing danger, the duty officer asked the men to report back to base and report the incident to the police. In fact, when they got there were a lot of people with some holding clubs and pieces of wood, some with stones, and they pelted the stones at the men.
Police have initiated investigations into the matter, although no arrests have been made yet. The Ghana National Fire Service is urging the public to refrain from attacking its officers during emergency responses.
To take this opportunity to caution the public against some of these things. Firemen, when we are called to incidents, we come there to help. In fact, we risk our lives to come to save the lives of others and their property. So when we come to such incidents and we are met with such hostilities, it actually affects us.
Additionally, the Ghana National Fire Service's Ashanti Region Command reported that the affected officers have received counseling to help them cope with the trauma caused by the attack.
This happened in Konongo. On the 13th, the report was made by Hafiz Tijani, our correspondent. We have in-house Alex King. He is the PR of the Ghana Fire Department in Accra. So he's here to have a whole discussion with us on the decisions that have been made, the trauma the fire service men who were attacked have been going through. So Alex King, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Thank you for coming. We've just seen what we have seen on TV right now, and it's not just Konongo, it's other parts of the regions that have been happening. And I spoke with you about prank calls that have been coming in, and generally we have over 600,000 prank calls. That aside, you are putting your life on the line for these people, and they keep attacking. What has the fire service done so far? I'm hearing there are some disbandments and all that.
Okay, so good morning to yourself and Koko David, the young man. Well, it's a worrying trend. It's a very worrying trend. And one thing we need to state as a fact is that fire service never puts, we don't start fires. We rather put fires off. Our people, we have a very aggressive safety department in every station that goes around to do safety education. But the reception of people towards our men who come to do education is very boring. Don't listen to them. And so fires happen as a result of sometimes negligence or mistakes on their part. Our men are just called in to come and salvage the situation. The unfortunate thing is that we've always said that our logistics are very lacking. Most of our fire tenders are between 50, getting to 20 years old. That's a very worrying situation. As I speak to you, Kaswa and Weja, their fire tenders are out of commission. So if there's any fire at Kaswa, their plans would have to move from either Anya or would have to move from Budumburam. That's very bad. So it means that if there's any fire within the Budumburam area, and one of the Budumburam tenders probably attended to that fire, it means that I would have to call a much further appliance, probably than Suman, to attend to it. So you see, the little appliances that we have left, we are trying to salvage it, hoping and waiting that the government would hasten the process of procurement for us to get new fire tenders. So in the case of the Konongo issue, for instance, our men, as my senior man had said, were attending to another fire call. And you see, we prioritize every fire. We can't say that because you've called again, we'll have to now leave the burning place and attend to you. We'll have to make sure that we adequately attend to this fire before we can further proceed to yours. You know, so it becomes very abhorrent when they tend to put their frustration on our men. So what we are deciding to do is to embark on a boycott of areas that are known to always want to attack our men. Because as we speak, a few days after this report was made, another attack happened to our men at Ahafo. 3 or 4 of them have been hospitalized. And I'm even hearing that in Carrier too, another issue has happened. And now most of my colleagues who are in the other stations have come out to tell me the kind of situations that they face when they go for fires. So it's become a very worrying trend. And you see, people should not underestimate a fireman. That we're doing his weapons so we can push us around. A fire officer's strength lies in his hand. If a fireman should slap you, you're probably going to coma.
But I hope that will never happen.
So that's why we restrain ourselves. So because we are restraining ourselves, people are taking our leniency for granted.
For weakness.
For weakness, and we are never weak. You see, one advocacy we are always asking is that government should help resource the Ghana National Fire Service. We're also asking that the assemblies should help establish fire stations within the areas. These 2 things I'll explain. One, if stations are built close to people within a certain area, it becomes easy for us to respond. Right now, as these people have gone to commit this atrocity against our people and our appliance, now the appliance has been grounded. If there's any fire, there's no appliance in Konongo right now that can serve them. We'll have to probably fall on Ejiso.
And you're already lacking in logistics.
Exactly. So imagine if the cars now come from Ejiso to Konongo.
I have this thing where I'm just curious, you know, so the citizens, the residents of these communities that attack the fire service personnel, when their leaders, what do their leaders do in response? Because you see, I'm also wondering that don't they understand that if we attack the fire service and the vehicle doesn't show up the next time there's a fire, we caused it.
Exactly.
You know, what are the leaders saying? I mean, I don't know if you've had any community engagements and any of those things.
We have. And you see, I said this and some of my colleagues didn't agree with me, but I'll say it, that the trees have this thing they say, opinion is not female kolari nanka, the book nanka. These communities have elders, they have leaders in there.
Yeah.
Instead of coming out to serve up these people or hand them over to us, that these are the perpetrators, deal with them. They'll chill them, you know, or coming out to publicly disassociate themselves from the attack. They won't. But wait for an issue to happen right now. We don't attend. Then they'll come. Oh, we are the leadership and we are coming to plead for the people to come. But when the people were misbehaving, you didn't see them doing that. You see, it's high time people, as I always say, people try to draw a fine balance between their safety and their security. People go to communities every time, and then you hear them say, oh, Akronfo hiring, we need police stations. That's very important. But remember that before I walked in, we had the fire call at Ashoman. Exactly. Ashoman Estate right now. There was another fire just when I was coming at Osu. And this is just within Accra, Tema, has not come, Kumasi, East. These are all areas that record fires a lot. So if you, the person attacking us, feel that your fire is too important or you don't need us, then clearly you are sending a strong indication that you don't need us. So we'll go. So that would divert our resources rather to the people that need us.
The people that will not attack you.
Alex, is it a lack of sensitization? The education is so limited that they are not aware that you are in there to save them at that present moment. I'm asking this because of the dummy case that we talked about, because they were a little synthesized, so they were able to help you. Exactly. The few who weren't, the leaders set them aside and helped you quench the fire. Exactly. So in these areas, are we saying that there's a lack of sensitization?
I think it's the will of the people themselves. See, there are people who know what is right and won't do it. Last 2 weeks or so, there was a fire at a popular nightclub at Dankwa Circle. So the owner of a very popular pharmacy at Dankwa Circle, the son called me and our men were dispatched. The man couldn't stop praising us as to how soon he got there. The man was like, oh, within less than 5 minutes, you guys arrived. I even begged him that I wanted to record him, saying it, and he said no. And then it's very painful that the people who have good things to say about us, they're always camera shy. And the people who have gibberish to say or who spew falsehood are the ones who are rather very fierce on social media and all. So you see, it's about people. We have our social media, our safety department and our PR department have been doing so well. Going to every community. If you go on our Facebook page, you'd see sensitization every single time. But our people go to some places and then they'll tell us that, last 2 years, we collaborated with a radio station in Adomi to go and do education. People were not listening to us. Believe it or not, that same night, Mile 7 Market caught fire. That same night. You see, so it's the will of they don't listen. And then they wait for it to happen and be like, hey, fire. Fire, what have we done?
Logistics-wise, I remember when I attended, was it the 65th? 60th. The 60th celebration in honor of education and the same sensitization. Iduchum said a lot, and the leadership also spoke a lot about logistics. And that was last year. Why is government slow? I'm using, for lack of a better word, slow in helping the Ghana Fire Service with logistics over 20 years. Some have not even been refurbished, and some have not even got new ones, new tankers. What is happening?
Well, I think I'll again push the question to the people of Ghana. I'll push the question to the people of Ghana. Because as a nation, I believe that we are all fixated more on our security than our safety. If the way you're concerned, every other single Ghanaian will be concerned and put their voices together to help make a case for the Ghana National Fire Service, I think we'll have a better institution. As our leaders are doing their best. They've sent in the specifications for these appliances to government, and government said they're in the process of procurement. We are waiting, and we are hoping that it will come on time to avert situations like this. You see, because if ideally every station should have enough fire tenders. For instance, the issue at Konongo wouldn't have happened because as at the time they had moved to attend that first incident, if there was another appliance at the station, it would have also been dispatched over there. We wouldn't have had situations like that. And we said, at the end of the day, these appliances that they're destroying, they are custom made. The parts are not out there on the market. So when you destroy it and they are grounded right now, then it means that we can't attend to people who have legitimate concerns. So we are hoping that people will listen because, see, when persuasion fails, force must be applied. And our men are also humans. They have blood running through them. At a point, they'll get tired.
They
And
have
if you don't
families
take
to
care,
take care of.
they have families to take care of. Look at what happened at West Legon when the building collapsed on our men.
Yeah.
When they were going to quench that fire, those people are not their family relatives. They didn't go ask the person that Ufri him, Asorbe and Alcohol.
Service to God and mankind.
Exactly. And they risked their lives at the peril of their lives. So it's enough risking your life, to do your job than, and again being attacked by the same people that you're supposed to.
You're risking your life for.
So you see, when your people are pushed to the wall, they react. And with what they're doing, if our men should react, it wouldn't be the best. So
will
let's
not
all
get
respect
there.
ourselves and be in our lane.
Well, I mean, want to find out from you in just a little bit what the Ghana Fire Service as an institution is looking at doing in response to all that is happening. But right now, I want to speak with Etonam Koda, who is the Director of Research and Advocacy with the Bureau of Public Safety. Etonam, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Thank you.
All right, so in terms of your safety advocacy and all of that, Alex Kingnati here with the Ghana National Fire Service said that people tend to prioritize their security over their safety. What do you find where you sit with as the Bureau of Public Safety?
Well, thank you and good morning, everyone. So, as you rightly said, let me begin by indicating that the incessant attacks on fire personnel is, to say that is condemnable. We do not condone such attacks on fire personnel. It's to help us make it a whole. But it's still in the same vein that I'm hearing from my friend in the studio, my officer, indicating of probably not attending to such emergencies in areas that are prone to such attacks. And we think that it may be proper for them to revise that position. It is not consistent with their mandate. We know that the fire service is supposed to put out fires and also preserve life or save lives. So, in as much as we still have some miscreants out there, or not understanding the purpose of the institution, and probably forming their own conclusion as to how they should operate. It still doesn't mean that we should outline because there are basic mandates of yes, the underlying mandate is to save life and property. I think that is quite inconsistent. What as an institution we advise of is that in situations like this, which I probably think they may have done or probably in the process, we will do what we call the post-analysis, risk assessment of potential hotspots that they are likely to face occurrences, and probably, coming up probably with a separate or different dispatch in some jurisdictions. Anytime the fire service is, you have the police also accompanying them just to any potential occurrences such as we are discussing. We think that they may also consider such protocols and see probably liaise with the police, because in one of the instances when they were attacked, I think they eventually called the averted such situation. So yes, we will condemn it in no uncertainty, but you need to also bear in mind that there are innocent lives out there that need the help of our service. But for the few miscreants that probably may not probably want to understand immediately or not, and they want to put the law into their own hands. That let's really look at it and get the police involved in their dispatch. Probably that will be one way to look at it. And you mentioned education, which for me is one of the key points that I think you will have to continue. Yes, you might think that enough education has gone on, but surprise people's understanding of the all operations in the past. And so I think that we cannot belittle the importance of education. We have to continue educating the populace just as we have learned to list the patients of the fire service to the extent that as the officer said, met someone who was giving them it means that to some extent some are getting to understand operation, but largely a certain perception has gone on quite a long time. I think we still have to do more to get everybody on board to appreciate the operations of our service. And lastly, for me, also that some of these issues I've read in the news where that the police are currently investigating it. So the one that happened in Congo. For me, in situations like this, to also help the institution, such investigations, subsequent prosecution need to be done with the spirit. It sends a kind of message to the popular perpetrators of such crimes or such attacks. We got to do. It also serve as a deterrent. So when we hear in the news that investigations are ongoing, that is the last time we hear of it. Of course, if it is an rearranged and something that people tend to straight, you know that will definitely work. We think that that collaboration of getting the police involved, investigating and prosecuting, serve as a deterrent. That we also recommend that.
All right. Etonam, thank you very much. We appreciate your thoughts on this. Let me just come back and speak with Alex, because Alex was vehemently shaking his head at a point, clearly not agreeing with certain aspects of Etonam's submission. Alex, what was the challenge for you?
Okay, so I understand the sentiment that he raised, that when it happens like that, innocent people are affected. But you see, that's where the rule of being each other's keeper comes in. You're in the society, you see what's happening. If you are quiet, the consequences or the repercussions would affect everyone.
Yeah.
So yes, we understand. And you see, let's say if we say, okay, we are blacklisting Tesano. It's not the whole of Tesano. Let's say if it's within this enclave that is known for perpetrating such violence or such acts, this is the area.
So you will limit it.
We'll limit it to that particular area, but not to the whole
of Tesano.
The whole of Tesano. You know, because you see, at the end of the day, it's just common sense that if we say that, okay, fine, we are understanding other people. And you see, the painful part for me is that most of the time it's not the owners of the facilities that do this, it's the bystanders who do that.
Yeah.
One of my colleagues told me a similar thing at Adenta Commando. They were being attacked. When they were going, the owner of the car had to come and stand in front of the appliance and be begging them to go back.
Wow.
Can you imagine? Anyway, we also have an audio from the Executive Secretary of the Bureau for Public Safety, and he had a conversation with us here at Citi News, and let's take a listen to what he said.
Well, first of all, I don't think it is consistent with the mandate of the Ghana National Fire Service not to respond to fires. And so it will be against the law. Secondly, their mandate is not only to put off fires, but also to rescue lives. Therefore, if they decide that they are not going to respond to fires anymore, they are literally saying that we are going to allow people to die, and we are also going to allow properties to waste away. This will cost the country a great deal. And so we must guard against that by any means necessary. If the Ghana National Fire Service is doing any serious post-analysis of their responses, I believe that by now they should be able to identify areas or potential areas that they are likely to come under attack.
So if, Alex, if we don't, if your position is not to blacklist certain areas, what would be the other solution to this? Is there any way we can go around this to say that, okay, let's maybe we go with the police every time we're called, so that if you have a map of Ghana and you know that these are the hotspots, these are the areas, then you can have some kind of like a collaboration with the police to say that we've gotten a call from one of the hotspots where they are likely to attack us. We are going with the police. Could that be an option? Is that an option that they...
Then it looks as if we are pampering them. Let me be as blunt as possible. It looks as if we are pampering them. That, you know, let me see, when I wish that the executive director himself will one day come to a fire scene, and then he won't be in his office and be saying that it's unlawful. But he's trying to say, is it lawful for people, for our men to be attacked? Is it lawful for our appliances to be damaged? So if they are damaged, which appliance does he expect us to go to fire scenes with?
No, but I think that the point that Nanaya Akwada was making was that your mandate is to protect lives and property. And the framework of the law is created as such, right? So rather, I think that maybe the fire services position should be one of, and I do understand you when you say, you know what, maybe we should start blacklisting and looking at saying that if you call us, we won't come unless your leaders in the community assure us of protection, that you will not attack us. I understand that sentiment, but I'm also wondering that does that sentiment also not go against what your code of ethics?
And our code of ethics, and you see, blacklisting does not stop us from performing our duties, because at the end of the day, we are still performing our duties to the people that need us, to the general population. The people who are perpetrating these crimes will probably be like 5% of the entire population. Okay. We are still serving 95% of the entire population of Ghana. Okay. So we are still performing our mandates. You see, and as a service, we owe it a responsibility to our officers. We owe it a responsibility to our limited appliances that we're operating with. So it's just common sense. If they destroy this appliance, next time if there's fire, what do they expect us to come with?
Yeah. So do you agree with our previous caller saying, our previous resource person saying that there has to be an arrest, a scapegoat to serve as a deterrent, and that they shouldn't be shielded?
Yes, so with this, we know our reports have been made to the Ghana police.
Yes. And
our regional commanders are taking it up. As of now, I'm not too sure the progress or the extent of that engagement. You see, but they're painful. Even if you talk to the policemen themselves, they'll tell you that when you go to communities to even arrest people like that, they'll show the people. They'll show the people and even meet them with attacks to restrain them from attacking these people in these societies. So then the onus, so yes, it's an option, but then it is not the permanent solution, because these leaders in the same society will be the ones begging, oh, Mamon Chom. So why don't these same leaders ensure that it doesn't even happen?
It doesn't happen at all.
Then in that case, it means as if we are pampering them.
I think that there's growth in discipline within our society. I mean, as for that one, we don't even need to explain much about that. It's seen all over the place, you know. And I think that the leaders of various communities, as these attacks have been happening, for me, that's my call. I will call upon the leaders of these communities to do the right thing and to restrain your young men, you know, because it's mostly young men that we see in these videos. Yeah. You restrain them and insist that they comport themselves appropriately, because at the end of the day, you will be complaining that you don't have fire tenders coming to attend to your fires. But you've forgotten that 2-3 fires ago, they smashed the tender, and the tender is out of commission, and so it's not available now. One has to come from maybe 100 kilometers away to come and serve you, and you are serving other fires at the same time. You know, so I mean, seriously, we need to do better. I mean,
the thing is that even as I speak right now, the appliance at Adenta has been out of commission, for a very long time.
I see.
Almost a year. So if there's, and at the point, the appliance at Medina was also out of commission. So when there was fire at OEB around even Valley View University, believe it or not, the appliance had to come all the way from University of Ghana to go there.
Okay.
Bearing in mind the traffic, bearing in mind that this appliance is very old. The speed, I'm sure even if you are driving, you can even drive past them so many times.
Sad.
That's a sad reality.
Very sad.
You see, if we are trying to manage, so imagine the one at University of Ghana also, I stayed at Seoul too, and there was one time when most of our appliances had broken down. I was home when they called our headquarters to move all the way to Omanjo.
Oh, wow.
To fire. That's because the appliance at Amasaman was spoiled. The appliance at Abilimpi was spoiled. They had to fall on the appliance from our headquarters. That's how bad. That's how bad that's how bad the situation we have it. So we have to, as a service, we are just hoping. We don't buy our appliances. We don't open fire stations. It's the government that buys appliances for us, and assemblies that build fire stations, and we send our men in there. So if the little that we are waiting on government for a while, for a long time now, they said they were buying some, we are hoping and waiting.
Right.
But the little we have, we still have to perform our mandates.
Absolutely.
So I'm hoping that the executive director would have said that, oh, we understand the sentiment of fire service, and we are even joining in the call for them to be equipped, rather than telling us that we should go and risk our lives and die. You know, and saying that we should do analysis of the time we respond. Believe it or not, he should come and spend one day at a fire station, and you'll be impressed that when you call fire service to attend to a fire call, once you are giving everybody who has a gota is listening. If you spend much more than 1 minute at the fire station and you have not moved, you'll be
I've seen the drill.
Exactly.
I've seen the drill. Wow.
I'm glad you're here, like, you know, to attest to it. That's how fast we attend to. But look at Ghana. People build living
on waterways, on drainages, and they are so close together. Dummies, what I saw at Dummy was bad.
So bad. People would block roads to do pajamos, to do weddings, to do parties. You know, and appliances will drive a very long distance, get there, realize that the road is blocked.
There's a whole blockage.
We can't say that we are riding over people because we are going to fire. We now have to turn around, look for
alternative areas.
These
And by then the fire would have
the fire will not be waiting. And these alternative areas are so small that even a Boboya cannot even enter. How much more a fire tender?
Thank you so much, Alex King Nate, for speaking with us and coming into the studio to sensitize all of us to know that we should take it upon ourselves and advise our younger ones not to act in ways that would deter our firemen from dousing fires. He is the PR for the Ghana Fire Service, and thank you again